Hey, everybody, how are you? Everything well on this open forum? Glad to have you with us. Boy, how about Kyrie Irving and the Dallas Mavericks, huh? Man, oh man. What a way to I don't even know what to say. I did a rant on this morning. Can you imagine being a Mavericks fan? Seriously, could you imagine being a fan of the Dallas Mavericks? And yesterday, you get notified if you're a season ticket holder that your prices are going up by an average of 8.6% next season. And they cite investments to the team and fan engagement. And now you lose Kyrie Irving for the year. You know what? They may not win 5 more games this year. Seriously. They may not win 5 more games. Speaking of winning, how about the Warriors? They're 6th now in the West. They beat the Knicks at the Garden 114-102. Looks like Minnesota is going to win, although that's not over yet. With 8 minutes left, it's Minnesota on top of Philly, 101-89. The Spurs are leading the Nets. A game that Kings fans will be keeping an eye on will be the Suns hosting the Clippers. The Suns are just an absolutely what a mess they are. Lakers home to the Pelicans. Boy, the Rockets got some problems. I don't know what the hell has happened to the Houston Rockets. They can't win a game. They lose again at Indiana, and they only score 102. Final there, 115-102. Kings, of course, in action, taking on the Nuggets tomorrow. We'll have all the coverage for you with the pregame, the halftime, and the postgame show. Hey, if you want to get in on the program, it is very easy to do so. You can give me a call. Here's the link for my open forum show. And if you want to just give me messages via the chat line, I'm okay to do that as well. But there's the link. You got the QR code as well. It's all there for you right here on If You Don't Like That. What do you think? What do you want to talk about tonight? We can go in a lot of different directions. Fire away. Give me some questions. NB Designer says, I hope we can beat the Knicks too. Don't worry about the Knicks right now. Don't worry about the Knicks. Worry about the Denver Nuggets. You know, you're not in a position right now where you should be worrying about teams that are not on the immediate schedule, meaning like the next game. Don't worry about it. Lack of offensive talent on the Rockets, says Dirk. Yeah, but, you know, they were beating all the good teams, Dirk, and they were doing it with defense and with enough offense to win. I mean, it's not like they just forgot how to play. Cody wants to know, did the radio station ever send you to Radio Row for the Super Bowl or NFL Scouting Combine? Yes, I used to go to Radio Row when it fit in with my schedule with the Kings. Normally would be there for 2 days, some days, sometimes 3 days. I was there all week once when the Kings were playing in Houston and the Super Bowl was that week, so it worked out perfectly. I was at Radio Row for a couple of days in San Francisco. I was at Radio Row in Miami for a couple of days. You know, again, it just was conducive. I mean, not conducive. It was contingent on where I was with the Kings. I never went to the scouting combine. No. I personally think the scouting combine is the biggest waste of time in the National Football League calendar. I don't understand it. I really don't. I really don't. It doesn't make, I don't understand it. Am I booing Fox Grant? Well, I'm not going to the game, so I'm not booing him because I won't be there. But I would boo him if I was there. Who's on the hot seat more, Monty McNair or Nico Harrison? Well, I can't speak for Dallas and their new owner. I don't know what's going on there. You know, if the Kings make the playoffs, not the play-in, if they make the playoffs, Monty will be fine. If he doesn't make the playoffs, he will not be fine. The scouting combine continues to grow. To grow on what, Cody? Like, what does the scouting combine tell you? Seriously, what does it tell you, Cody? You're out there in shorts and a T-shirt. What does it tell you, Cody, that you don't already know based on every single play that you have of an individual through high school and college. Like, what does it do for you, Cody? I mean, I don't like when you say it continues to grow, like for what? So people can go to St. Elmo's and get the famous shrimp cocktail? Like, I don't understand it. I think it's just a waste of time. I'm going to see somebody run a 40-yard dash in their shorts. Like, why? I'm going to watch how a receiver runs a sideline pattern in his shorts and a T-shirt with a quarterback that he's never seen before. I've never understood the amount of time, money, and effort that goes into the scouting combine. Grant, I'm glad I finally caught you live. I'm so irritated with Karl Anthony Towns. He let our team down tonight. He didn't play for personal reasons. Well, do you know what the personal reasons were? I'm just curious. Do you have any idea what the personal reasons were? I'm just curious. More and more media each year are attending. You get firsthand access to all the coaches and GMs. Yeah, Cody, that's great. I understand that. But like, what does that do for? I'm looking at this from a team perspective, Cody. I'm not looking at this from a broadcaster's perspective. I'm looking at this from a National Football League team. I'm not looking at this from a broadcaster. I understand that broadcasters have great access to coaches and GMs, and that's great. I'm talking about it from, like, what does it do for your football team? Speaking of football, you know that the Philadelphia Eagles made Saquon Barkley the highest paid running back in the history of the NFL today? Think about how his life has changed in the last 12 months. Huh? Think about how his life has completely changed in the last 12 months. Mikal Bridges stunk it up for the Knicks again. He's not playing well. All those draft picks, and he doesn't score 15 points a night consistently. It's been a big disappointment. But again, you can't rip a player for missing a game for personal reasons if you don't know what the reason is. You got to know what you know. I don't like players missing games either. But when it says personal reason, if you don't know what it is, yeah, you got to have a little latitude there. Super Bowl champion, Saquon Barkley. Yes, Super Bowl champion, Saquon Barkley. I'm happy for him. The guy's great. He's a complete professional, you know, and I have no problem with the Giants letting him go. He wasn't going to change the Giants around. So good for him. Good for him. That's how I see it. I don't think he was going to change the New York Giants' fortunes around. Maybe win another game. Maybe. I don't have a problem with that. And I certainly don't have a problem with New Works Plumbing when it comes to plumbing services, repairs, because they are awesome. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. And remember, they are available around the clock 24/7 for your plumbing needs and repairs. Give them a call. Hopefully you don't need them. But if you do, trust me, you want to keep them in mind because they are great. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Let me give you that link again if you want to call the show. Certainly, I encourage you to do so. If not, send me the messages right here on the chat. We're not going to go super long today. Wanted to talk about the big news. What about Kyrie Irving? Torn ACL, out for the year. And you have to wonder what this means for his career. You know, he's not like a young pup anymore. I'm not saying he won't come back, but man. If Keegan keeps playing like he has, does that move the floor any more for you for the Kings? No. I mean, they're a play-in team, and that's where they'll be. And we'll just see what happens. We'll see where they go. How is my relationship with G-Man? Do you still keep in touch? Great. Yes, we do still keep in touch. Grant, I got to be around Scal in 2017 inside the Kings weight room, and it was great to see him check in last night. Such a good person. Go Kings, Dorian. Dorian is one of my favorites. I've said that. I love the guy. Love him. I love Scal. Just a great, great person. I root for him every day. There are certain players that I've rooted for even when they leave the Kings. Many actually players I root for when they leave the Kings because they're good people. Isaiah Thomas was in that. A lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys I root for when they left the Kings. Could I see Portland and San Antonio passing Dallas and Phoenix? Well, as far as passing Phoenix, that doesn't really matter, Sea-Dog, because that doesn't get you into the play-in. I'll tell you, Dallas, to me, I could see being passed right now by Portland. I can't see with San Antonio. I can't see it with San Antonio. And I think it's even unlikely, but let's get into this a little bit, okay? Right now, Phoenix is 28-33. That's 3 games back in the loss column of Dallas. Portland is 28-34. They're 4 games back in the loss column of Dallas. As I'm doing this, I don't know the tiebreaker scenario, which would be important. Phoenix, to me, is a mess. They've lost 8 of 10. They look disheveled. Portland, to me, would be a more realistic option, but you also have to understand, all right, you're running out of games here. Portland has 20 games left. Dallas, 20 games left. You know, to make up 4 games in 20 games is very, very difficult. Did I get to see Bowling Green tight end Harold Fannin? He's ranked as number 3 overall tight end in the draft. I did not. Thank you for the info. Did not. Big Knicks fan. I think Cat will come around. Hope Cat is okay. You'll see Cat in Sacramento coming up in a little bit as the Knicks play the Kings again. Knicks have really not played well lately. They have not played well lately. They better be careful. Dallas is about to free fall, though. Yeah, they are. No doubt about it. They're in a free fall right now. Absolutely. You know, people still want to talk about the Doug Christie. You know, it was a fight. Because it was the Kings and the Lakers, it got a lot more play than it did. You know, and the fact that Doug's wife was in the tunnel and all, you know, to me, it's very, very overhyped. It was just because they were rivals. The whole thing is blown out of proportion, in my opinion. Dallas is down 6 to 7 rotational players. Dirk, you know, you think I'd like living on Mars? I know that. 22 games for the Kings. What do you predict? I'm thinking 6-16. I think they're going to win more than 6, but not a lot more. I think they've got a brutal schedule coming up. Thanks, man. I'm going to the game Monday. Knicks only come to town once a year. Yeah, enjoy it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Get a little swig of water there. Exactly. Thank you. It wasn't even a regular season game. It was a preseason game. Thank you. It's just, again, it was 2 rivals, 2 teams that hated each other. That's it just, again, I don't know why people are still talking about that almost 25 years later. I don't understand that. I really don't. At the time, it was a big deal, yes. Hey, Sunrise Landing, if you're looking to relocate, Sunrise Landing in Calusa is the newest residential community in Calusa. You go to calusasunrise.com. You'll get all the information you need on Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. And remember, 6 models to choose from and no Mellorews at Sunrise Landing. No homeowners at Sunrise Landing. Adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club and great access to the major roads like I-5. So Check it out. Go to CalusaSunrise.com. That's CalusaSunrise.com and Sunrise Landing. You know, there are certain things that happen in sports that I think are worth talking about decades later. Okay? Like Joe Namath and the Jets beating the Colts in just an incredible upset in the Super Bowl. Like, I think that's worth talking about. I think Ali Frazier's worth talking about. You know, and obviously the Lakers and the Kings game 6, the poorly officiated game is worth talking about. But a fight, a one-punch fight in a preseason game, I mean, I don't know why we're still talking about that. I'll tell you, thoughts on Deebo Samuel Commanders trade. Cody, what's the saying? It's better to have a player leave your team a year too soon than a year too late. What do you think Deebo's got left in the tank, Cody? I'll tell you, when I look at Washington and I look at what they have, if Samuel is healthy, wow, that could be really, really good. Really good. Do you think the NBA champion will come out of the East this year? Have to think Boston and Cleveland will be tough outs. I think Oklahoma City is going to be a tough out too. Hola, Eduardo in Chile. How are you, Eduardo? Hope you're doing well. Well, you know, as far as the Niners, they're going to have to retool there. And you're right about CMC's questionable health. So it's a different look, you know, definitely. I definitely will. Maybe Walt Clyde Frazier will let me take a picture with him. I hope so. Walt's pretty cool, man. If you can get a hold of him, he's a great guy. It was really a thrill for me the first time I did a Knicks game at Madison Square Garden. And then when Walt started doing the games later on, because when I first did the games at Madison Square Garden, Marv was there with John Andres, and Marv was my idol. And then when Walt started doing the games after John passed away, sitting next to Walt Frazier was a big thrill for me because I idolized Walt growing up, him and Willis Reed. And Willis, the salt of the earth. When I moved to Sacramento, when Willis was the assistant coach of the Kings, I couldn't believe it. And getting to know Willis and traveling with Willis and being around him, what a great man Willis Reed was. What a great man. If I'm in Joe Shane's position, what are you doing between now and training camp? Well, obviously right now, Sea-Dog, what I'm doing is I'm making sure I don't make more mistakes in the draft like I have done. That's the first thing I'm doing. That's number one. I'm not worried about training camp right now. I know what you're asking me, though. What do I need to do? You know, they have some money under the cap. They need to go out and solidify some key positions. But obviously, we know they need a quarterback. And I was okay with what was going on with the Rams and their situation. I think the Giants are in a position where taking a 37-year-old quarterback is probably not prudent. It's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see what they do, but they got a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Mike Breen, idolize him too. You won't meet too many people nicer than Mike Breen. I'm predicting going 10 wins, 12 losses for 42 wins for the season. Sea-Dog responding to Cody. None of them excite me, Cody. I'd rather have a stud like Hunter or Carter and address quarterback in free agency or later in the draft. Detroit's won 9 of 10. Yeah, they're good. The Kings have to play them coming up on a road trip later on in the season. You know, I think right there, that's one of the candidates for Coach of the Year. I think what Detroit's done is unbelievable. I'm looking at them right now. They're 35-27. Think about that. They are 35-27, and they're 6th in the East. The West looks like this now. Oklahoma City, the Lakers are 2, if you can believe that. Denver is 3. Memphis, did you see Jaren Jackson's got a grade 2 ankle sprain? And he's going to be week to week. That's a big loss for them. The all-star Jaren Jackson, that's a big loss, and that could be good news for Sacramento because they play Memphis coming up here on this homestand. Houston, really sliding. lost 3 in a row, 37-25. Golden State, 6th behind Houston at 34-28. Then the Clippers, the Kings, the Timberwolves, the Mavericks. This is a good year to get into the playoffs because as long as you don't catch the Thunder, every team can be upset in a 7-game series. That's true any year, isn't it? I mean, we've seen 8s beat 1s before. I mean, that's true any year. Maybe it's a little more wide open this year. Maybe. You might be right. Maybe it's a little more wide open. Is this after Detroit releases an $11 million a year coach? Yeah, it is. What has impressed me the most about the Kings' 4-game winning streak? I'm not that impressed based on who they've played. I mean, they played the 2 worst teams in the league back-to-back in Charlotte and Utah. They beat a Dallas team with nobody on the floor, and they beat a Houston team that's really been struggling. But if you're asking me what's impressed me the most is that they haven't let the foot off the gas pedal. Like they've finally dialed in and zeroed in, like, okay, we're not messing around. That's what's impressed me the most. But the quality of their opponents, very deceiving. Nuggets have a bunch of guys listed as questionable, or maybe the Kings catch a break, plus the Nuggets are coming off a long road trip. Very true. Aaron Gordon is the number 1 guy that I'm looking at as questionable. Matter of fact, I'm going to go bring that up the latest right now. But you're right. Maybe they catch them at a good time. No doubt. I'm looking at coming off a long road trip, and that is always an issue. And Michael Malone is very aware of that, and he's going to have his guys hopefully for his sake dialed in. But you're right about that. The number 1 guy that's listed as questionable is Aaron Gordon. And I didn't even realize that Nikola is questionable. So you're right. Boy, if Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic don't play, the Kings will win that game. No doubt about it. If Gordon and Jokic don't play, the Kings will win that game. I don't understand this. You're having trouble doing the restroom? It says add your channel. It doesn't do anything when I click. I don't know what to tell you. And joining Restream. Oh, yeah. Doing the Restream. Yes. Maybe somebody can help him. Not with the restroom, but with Restream. Beasley has made a difference in Detroit. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. Absolutely. It says, thank you, Dirk, for the help. Click the option at the bottom. Andre, there you have it. Thank you for your help, Dirk. Appreciate that. Don't forget, tomorrow we got all the coverage of the Kings and the Nuggets. That is going to be coming your way with the pregame show, Jerry and Rhino at halftime with yours truly, and then we'll take your phone calls on the postgame show. Listen, if Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon don't play, the Kings will win that game. All right? All right, here's the link for the show. Let me get you the link. There's the link. All right? I'll leave it up there on the screen so you can see it. You can check everything out, and it's right there for you. All right? And if you can figure it out, then that's awesome. But there's the link, and I hope that helps you. I'm not a technological marvel, trust me. So I'm like, I understand. I get it. I have trouble with these things too. All right? I'm not as bad as Jerry Reynolds, but I have issues. All right? All right. Let's get to some phone calls right here. And we start with Dirk. Hello, Dirk. How are you?
Hey, Grant. I'm doing all right. Good to hear that Denver suffering. I saw that Jokic had some sort of hobbled issue, I guess, in the Memphis game or some recent game.
Yeah, he's been bothered by an ankle. That's correct.
Yeah. So I'm going to the Spurs game Friday, Grant. I wanted to make the argument that we shouldn't boo Fox.
Well, first of all, do what you want. It's not an
Right.
argument, but you can give me your reason, but I'm okay with your reason, but like, do what you want, but go ahead.
Well, I just think generally a lot of us have some shared disappointment with this front office for the last 8 years or so, right? And I think that this guy committed to being here, felt like he's our star player. We treat him like a star player. He wants specific help to improve this team defensively. He's probably putting his asking for certain players or trying to get things going for this team that he feels it would be a more complete team capable of winning. And this organization keeps on not giving enough, maybe.
Well,
I'm gonna
I
say
totally
I'm making
disagree
the
with you. I
argument.
totally disagree with you. They got an all-star
Cool.
forward center in Domantas Sabonis for him. Then they went out and got DeMar DeRozan for him. They did everything, okay, to try to build this team around him with very good players. And the reality is that De'Aaron Fox checked out on the Sacramento Kings. And personally, if I'm a season ticket holder, if I'm a customer paying my money, I am not applauding a player that checks out on a team that I root for and love. I'm not doing it.
I understand that. I don't. I'm not. I'm going to sit quietly. I think when he's coming out, I think if we gave him at least the offseason, I would eventually like to cheer the guy for his contributions to the franchise. Because up until this year, he was probably one of my all-time favorite Kings. With this heel turn he's taken, but I share in the disappointment of the front office a bit.
Well,
Just
I
with
don't
the
blame the
GM
front office for
decision-making.
De'Aaron Fox. I blame De'Aaron Fox for De'Aaron Fox. I don't blame that on the front office. And here's the other deal: Fox was only an All-Star 1 year, and he was added on to the team. He's he's somewhat overrated as a player. He can't shoot, and I don't want a point guard that can't shoot. Look at what he's doing in San Antonio. He still can't shoot.
I just want to hit a couple clutch shots to end the game.
He can't
Yeah,
shoot.
you're right. I mean, well, great. I'll say this: he did improve his free throw shooting. You've always
Yes.
harked on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
he
what,
improved
Dirk?
his.
Good point. Let me give me a chance to own
Oh,
up
sure.
for a mistake I just made. He can't shoot the three ball. He can shoot mid range. He can shoot free throws. You're right, but he's not a good shooter from distance. I think that's the point that I should have made originally.
But last year he was shooting 37. I'm saying that he can sometimes put in work and he can make. Listen, he's not a perfect player. I agree with you. He's a fringe all-star. I share in that frustration of the front office signing a coach that he wanted some stability here. He should have played better for that coach. If he really
Yeah, he
wanted
should
to
have, and he
stick
should
around.
have guarded the guy in the corner who was wide open for a three instead of fouling him that lost the game, and then taking no accountability for it after the game. That's what he should have done.
Yeah, he's definitely a flawed person, as we all are. Yeah, I, everyone can do what they want, but I figured I'd make the case.
Okay.
So I'll let you
Thank you,
take other
Dirk.
calls.
Always good hearing from you, buddy. Have a good one. All right. All right. Take care. All right. Let's get to Doggy. What's up there, Doggy? Let's get to you here. Let me get you on here. What's going on, buddy?
Doing great, Grant. Finished that NFL Combine that was this weekend.
Yeah.
Boy, did Nick Emmanwari, the safety from South Carolina, impress.
Okay, what impressed you about him?
43-inch vertical, a 4.38 40, 11.5 broad jump, and he did 20 on the bench.
How was his t-shirt and shorts? Look good on him? Or was he in a football uniform and a helmet playing football?
You know, hey, his draft stock just went through the roof right now. Every mock that never had him in the first round, they have now bumped him up to a mid to late first rounder.
Can he play football?
Yes.
Or is he a gymnast? Can he play football? Okay, I just want to make sure he can play football.
He played South Carolina. He had 88 tackles this last season.
Good. Did the scouts that were at the combine not have any video of him at South Carolina, and so they had to watch him jump in a pit of sand and run a 40 in shorts and try to touch something above his head, or did they have the video of him at South Carolina? I'm just curious.
You know, they have the video. You know what? Some things are a bit of affirmation. You know, obviously you could see that. You can't really see his true like you say, okay, he's jumping high, but you know what is it exactly? You know, he runs fast, but what is it exactly?
Maybe he can dunk. Maybe they'll change the rules of football where they have a rim and he can dunk and he'll get points that way. Bunch of crap. You know what? It's football. It's football. It really is. It's football. Do those things help in terms of maybe like solidifying what you already know about a guy, yes, that could do it. But it's football. You know what? I'm sorry. That stuff doesn't mean anything to me.
All right. Well, I guess we all got that answer out of Grant.
Hey, buddy, you know I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, take care. That's good stuff. All right. Tay, what's going on, buddy?
Hey
How are
Grant,
you?
good evening. Good,
Good
how are
evening.
you?
Good. Thanks for calling the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So something that's been on my mind. I don't watch many ESPN shows such as First Take or other type of, I forget their names, or Stephen A. Smith and other personalities are on. I was watching the other day and they were talking about the Western Conference race, how there are, several teams jammed up in the 7 to 9 spot, and they were talking about Warriors, Timberwolves, um, and then the Warriors, Timberwolves, and the Mavericks. Um, but they never mentioned Sacramento, and I don't know if the nation know. I don't know if those people know Sacramento are in the mix. I think my point is I never. In other shows too, when they mentioned the teams in the play-in, they just never mentioned the Kings at all. Um, what are Kings just kind of oblivious to the nation as a whole,
Pretty
because
much.
they've been in the
Pretty
thick of
much.
the things for the whole year, but they never mentioned that we're
The people
fighting
that
just like the
the
other
people
teams.
that work on First Take probably have not watched the Kings game all year, and
Yeah.
they see that they traded Fox, and in their head they think, oh, they're done. They just traded Fox, and they're not going to. It's a joke. I mean, it's an absolute joke. You're right. They very
Yeah.
rarely get mentioned.
Yeah, so I mean, like, what do we have to do, I guess, to get nations' attention and respect to a certain extent?
Win a
Because
playoff
half,
series. Get into the playoffs and win a playoff series. Then they'll start knowing who you are.
right, but then I think half the time these days, they're just talking about how dysfunctional the Suns are, and they're just talking about the teams that are even worse than Sacramento, how KD wants out. Is that just is that just for the television as a whole? I
Yes.
assume that's just more sexy to talk about than
It's a great
Zach
question.
LaVine, Monk and
It's a
Sacramento
great
Kings.
It's a great question. Kevin Durant moves the needle. Malik Monk nationally does not move the needle. No, I'm just telling you. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you're 100% correct. That's what it is. I wouldn't get too caught up on that. I know it upsets a lot of Kings fans, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. That's what you have the standings for.
Agree. You guys bring such more substance. So shout out to the entire SAC media. You guys actually talk about the X's and O's and the
Thank you.
technicalities. So I'm trying to tune out some of those other, ESPN junk. So
Thank you,
all
buddy.
right. Thanks, Grant.
Hey, I appreciate you calling the show. You have a good night. All right. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. It's a good call right there. Enjoyed that. I'll tell you, I talked about this yesterday. And if you would like to sponsor the show, please do so. I had a great conversation with Connor from Element Mortgage, and I was fascinated with his background. First of all, he's a local product from Folsom, went to college at Cal Poly. And if you're looking to sell your house, if you're looking to buy a home, if you're looking to refinance, give Connor a phone call. All right. You'll be glad that you did. 916-505-1006. Connor is not super salesy. He's a common sense guy. And the team that works behind him has over 100 years of experience. And as far as Connor's expertise, he's pretty much done it all in the business. In the last 7 years, he's closed 1,000 loans. And what I love about Connor is he's a down-to-earth guy. And, oh, yeah, by the way, for you Kings fans, he's a big Kings fan. Talking about an independent mortgage bank where anything under the sun they can do with lending programs. This is a one-stop shop. But I don't know about you, but when it comes to making a purchase of this magnitude, whether you're buying or selling, or if you're refinancing, trust is a big part of this. Trust me when I say this. You can trust Connor. 916-505-1006. Give him a call. You'll be glad that you did. And I'm very, very happy that he is with us here on If You Don't Like That. And Element Mortgage. Boy, I wish I was there right now with that kind of weather. How beautiful is that? Give Connor a call. You'll be glad that you did when it comes to buying a home, selling a home, or, as I mentioned, refinancing. Don't forget, the Kings tomorrow will have a chance to go perfect on this road trip, and they might have the table set up perfectly. All right? Think about this. If you don't have Jokic and you don't have Gordon, oh, wow. Now, the one thing I would say, if those guys can play, they're going to play, because Michael Malone's going to try to get him to play because he hates Vivek Ranadive and he hates losing to the Kings. So, yeah, that is a total desk wallpaper. I would agree with you right there. No question. I want to get back to what Tay just said. Don't worry about what the national media says. It's really not that big of a deal. It's not. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. I want to thank you for your support, the audience that we have during our shows, the Kings programming. It's been a lot of fun. And now these games are all big. They're all basically playoff games, right? So sit back, enjoy it, and join us right here. We love your feedback, good or bad, positive, negative. I don't care. I just love the fact that you're with us. Appreciate that. All right. Kings Court with Rhino tomorrow, then pregame, halftime with Jerry, and postgame show. You make it a good evening. Love talking to you right here on If You Don't Like That. So long now.